the state losing the fight against the abuse of women and children? Should the death penalty be reinstated? Why are most victims reluctant to report cases of abuse by their partners? And what can be made of the hashtag men are trash? What time is it? It's question time. And welcome to the show. My name is Mpho Seidu. The recent murders and sexual abuse of young women in some parts of the country continues to make headlines. It was indeed a sad weekend for the country when Karabo Mokwena was buried on Friday and Lerato Moloi on Saturday. Lerato's funeral coincided with the final send-off given to radio personality and actor Mandla Hlatshwayo, also a murder victim. On Saturday, scores of men marched to the union buildings under the banner hashtag not in my name. Organizers said they had been quiet for too long and used the march to speak out about violence inflicted on women and children. But is it too late to turn the situation around? We are live. You can call us. The numbers to dial 089-110-4210. Our Twitter handle @QuestionTime24. But before we get into today's discussion, let's firstly take a look at what the president had to say about this issue.
I hope the country will realize that on the issue of crime we're facing a serious matter. There is negativity in the country. There is something that has gone wrong that we need to do as the society. I don't know whether we need to introduce more harsher laws or change the laws. This, I think, we must discuss.
Yes.
It's a crisis in the country. The manner in which women and children are being killed. I've been told that just here in the Western Cape, about 19 children have been killed since the beginning of the year.
Yes.
Now this is unacceptable.
Well, that's the president there speaking in Cape Town. My guest today, Susan Shabang. She's the Minister of Women in the Presidency, and we expect to be joined also by Andile Kgailisiwe, who is a gender activist and television presenter. Minister, welcome to the show. A sad state of affairs in the country.
Indeed, it is a sad one, but also a state which makes our people to start losing hope and being angry, especially for women. And I think it's an issue which we've seen just the upsurge of the problem coming up. So I think what is important for South Africa is to start talking together and stand up. But the key issue, changing attitudes. And it also raises a fundamental question. How do we socialize our children, both girls and boys? Also, how do we make sure that boys understand that women are human beings too? So I think these are some of the issues which we are facing as a country. That's why if you look at what happened for these past few days, 5 women were brutally, not just murdered, brutally murdered in Soweto. It's also a reflection of what is it that we have done wrong, or what is it that we have not done as society, which leads to such brutality in society.
But one of the things that I've noticed, Minister, is that we seem to be a very reactive society. Now that these issues are being, spoken about in the media, there's a lot of enthusiasm. People are getting around talking about it, and I'm afraid that this momentum is going to die down.
Well, I'm not sure whether it will die down, because it's not just about murders, the brutality of women being killed. We also have a current challenge, kidnapping of women, which is a big problem in children. So if you look at us, as you say, should we also wait that situation of kidnapping become a crisis, then we react. I agree with you. I think as South Africans, we tend to respond to challenges when we are put against the wall. And when things are like normal, we don't realize and recognize that we need to be there at all times in making sure that we address these matters. The issues of safety for women, very key. And you know that we've had various campaigns, 16 days, which we now decided to be 365 days per year, precisely because of the violence faced by our women in society. And it's not an issue of some other days. Almost every day, there's a woman who's abused.
Well, we welcome into studio Andile, as I had said. She's a gender activist, a television personality as well. Andile, talk to us about the march also. What is informing this?
It's a sad day in South Africa. In fact, when I came out about my story of being raped as a kid, that was in 2002, I did not think that in 2017 we would be talking about this, but at levels that are unprecedented. The latest trend of kidnapping women, burning them, Masilalela, we hear that part of it is because they're taking body parts from them, and that's why they're burning them, so that you don't really see what is happening. And there are, when you listen to the streets, there are fingers being pointed at people trading and selling these body parts around. So, you know, it's not an ordinary day, because when society gets to those kinds of levels of violence and lawlessness, we can't also just use our normal strategies of dealing with these things, because there's evil in there. How do you burn someone, you know, especially in Karabo, that it was someone that you were in love with, and now suddenly you're taking all these things and then you're burning. So it's such a sad and horrific shame. And so for me as a gender activist and someone who's been through sexual violence, after the killing of Mandla Hlatshwayo, colleague, I woke up the next day and I thought, no, I need to do something. I'm South African and I'm born in Soweto. And then I called everyone, and everyone said we are all there. And then this march came about, and I called even the Office Minister and others, be safe to Guti. This one now is calling on all of us, faith-based organizations, NPO sector, entertainment sector, you know, everyone, all of us need to be saying enough is enough. We are not a violent country. Despite our violent past, we've been able to have a democracy, and everyone has their place. Manje, last is it's a whole nother space.
Let's take Lionel. Lionel, you are in the Eastern Cape. Welcome.
Yes, how are you, my man?
I'm well. Thanks for the call.
Yeah, man. Listen, what I would like to say, you know, the laws in this country, you know, is not right. Because, you know, the fact that, you know, you try and help, you know, young women or women in general,
Lionel,
you know, to be late charges.
Lionel, I'm battling to hear you. I think there's something wrong with the line there. I'm just going to ask our producers to perhaps call you back and get you back online. But we really would love to hear from you. And the numbers will be on your screen there. Please do give us a call. Let's hear what you think about this. Do men need a mindset change as to how do they look and treat women and children, Minister?
Yeah, it's very, very important, but it can't start with you as old as you are. It starts with how we socialize our children, right from the beginning, boys and girls. The challenge we have is that we also as parents are to be blamed, because we tend to put up the boy child than the girl child. You know, in a family, they would say to you, if your sister has an argument with you and she fights you, don't beat him. He's a boy, you know. So already you're starting to elevate the boy. You know, some of us can tell stories about that, and I think that's where we start. Yes. It starts in the family. How we socialize. How do you divide house chores in a family? No, you know, those kind of issues of masculinity. So we've got to start that. Families need to change their mindset. Need to socialize their kids as human beings, as children, grow them on the same level. You know, I always say, if you go to societies or to families where boys and girls, there was no major difference. They socialize and behave differently. But where you find these boys who might have seen the father being in masculinity, attacking the mother, most of the time, these are some of the reflection which you are seeing right now coming out because of the behavior of parents. But we cannot justify that. I think Andile is right. We need to continue mobilizing society, changing men, calling them to march. Because most of the time, men think that they don't have a role to play.
Yes,
it's women who must march. You know, when I started in this portfolio, one of the things I was told is that focus on women's rights. Don't talk about men. Don't say you're mobilizing men. And I said I'm going to mobilize them. Because a society is constituted by both men and women. So it's a societal issue. And even this particular aspect, it's a societal problem. It cannot be resolved by women or men. It's both who must work together to find solutions.
Just did a bit there. Pete, you're in Gauteng. Welcome.
Yes, sir. How did you?
I'm well. Thanks for the call, Pete.
Fine. Sir, I understand the situation of the girl that is there. When I was a student in Victoria, there was a lady who was taken by a guy to school. After completing the school, he tells the girl that tells the guy that is stupid. So he's not going to get married to the stupid. You think how don't you feel that guy?
Okay, Pete, thank you. Well,
okay.
Pete, there's actually bringing another element there, which I really don't think we have the energy to deal with. But well.
So now if he assisted, so now she owes him. You see, this for me is fundamentally the problem. Mama, how is it that you allow your girl child to come home tengang? How is it that you allow your girl child to carry around Louis Vuitton bags? You see, this is the advent of social media is a curse. I personally feel that it is a curse because it's brought out sides of people that we don't know. In America, there's a boy who decided he was going to shoot everyone, is going to put it on Facebook because then it's going to get him all these likes and popularity and all these things. And then you look at, in social media and people want to live this life that they can't afford. And, we go to funerals, you hear this term, blesser. It's normal. We normalize these things. These things are abnormal. More uingane, and you listen to your parents. And as men, conversations amongst men are so key that if you don't understand just at the level of what Umam Shamon was talking about, your role as a young man, as a young boy to your sister, if you don't get, your role in a relationship, that emotional abuse is more damning, and we're not going to compare crimes here, but the point is it's time that we take responsibility for the things that we do, even and whatever. As men, the things that you talk to each other about, there are so many guys who know that a guy took a girl from a club last night who didn't want to go with him, but because he had bought drinks, those guys, they talk about it. The minute you take this thing and make it yours, it could happen to you, your child. And also when we talk about this rape, it's not just with women, they're little boys. Exactly. They see that happens to them. Some of them get sent to juvenile prisons and spaces like that. They learn more of that and then they...
Hold it there. Yeah. Baba Mtunga.
Yebo baba njani.
Ngiyaphila unjani?
Cha ubaba ukhumalo ngilalela uhlelo ngiyakubuka futhi lapho.
Awu ngiyabonga baba.
Yebo ngiyakuzwa kungqongqoshe khuluma nokushintsha kwemthetho nakho konke.
Yebo.
Kodwa ke ngicabanga ngeke sasiza thina ukumasha manje ngoba abantu abalalele kulolu hlelo abakhathazele thina ke semakhaya. Kodwa ke abantu abazigebenga basesigangeni benza imikhuba manje. Okwani ke bengacela ukuthi ke imithetho ayishintshe iqine imithetho abantu mebenza ukuba silethe intambo bafo ngoba abantu bazoqala bese abantu abanavalo manje bayazenzela noma eboshiwe udla kahle ejele akanenkinga kodwa ke abantu ababahlonipha abantu besifazane ngoba igebengu manje nje zezimkhubathini sinemndeni sisemakhaya sikukuhlelo siyazibona iziposo zangqongqoshe nakho konke akusho kodwa ke akushintshe umthetho ozovikela besifazane kulethwe uvalo kubantu abazigebengu ngoba badla kahle emajele umuntu uyabulala uyamhlonipha umuntu esatha ngamhloniphi njobe sisho nje usisi kade sihlala simbona nje la ukhumbule ekhaya ibuhlungu indaba yakhe kodwa-ke manje abantu abanavala kuletha uvalo kubantu kuletha imithetho eqinile umuntu aboshwe ejele maku-20 years akube-20 years ingathathi after 5 years ephumile umuntu akanalo uvalo behlonipha lowo muntu behlonishwe kakhulu.
Baba Khumalo, ngiyabonga kakhulu. Bonga kakhulu, Baba Khumalo, they're calling us from Soweto saying, oh, actually, well, just tighten up the laws. But the laws are there, Minister, and perhaps let's also refer to what the President was saying, that is it not time maybe to review some of these laws?
Well, I think any law can be reviewed at any time. That's very important, because any law which cannot bring justice and also corrective measures, especially to the victims, the victim continues to feel aggrieved. But the challenge in South Africa, we have good laws.
That we do.
We do have good laws.
Implementation.
We cannot argue that they don't exist. It's about implementation. It's about the attitude of South Africans. Law is just a piece of paper. Laws needs people. You know, for us to make sure that we do the right thing. Indeed, we are a peaceful society. I always say South Africans are Christians.
Yes.
We are believers. But the key for us is what is it that we're going to do to work together? Because the laws are not enough. The jails will be full. But at the end, if those mindsets are not going to be changed, it's about, as I've indicated, socialization, teaching our young boys at school, at home. The child must not just be educated or taught at school. Even parents have a responsibility. Because if you have that rounded up program, then we'll be able to have an impact in society.
Emalahleni, Elvis?
Yes. What is that?
Ngiyaphi njani baba?
Ngiyabona ngiyamuzwa
I'm battling with you again. I don't know what is wrong. Maybe it's something wrong with our lines. But if you are able to come back, please do. Would really want to hear what you're saying there, Elvis. We apologize for that. You're saying, well, there's adequate laws. We agree. But
implementation.
But
the will. You have to want to. If you're a prosecutor, if you're a judge. When we formed the 1 in 9 as the NPO sector years ago, it was that thing, Yoguti, we have minimum sentences, the rape. But when you check cases, a lot of the times, they're not even meted out, that minimum sentence. So, you know, the will has to come from, umthetho, like the minister is saying, it can't enact itself. So, Astrale Police Station, this is why we invited Minister Mbalula to also join us in this march. Because in some of these cases, substance abuse, I'm also heavily involved there. You hear a lot of the times, I have an office there. Some of these Nyobe boys work with the cops. Where these laws can then be meted out properly, then we can be able to see. So when someone says, are we failing our women and children? Well, yes, we are, because if all of us did what we are meant to do, you see, even solutions to this, there's no one-track mind. They are multi-dimensional. And so the march, for instance, that we are having on Friday is a beginning. From there needs to be conversations amongst men, with men, from 7 years old to 77. A 77-year-old man, teach this young boy things that are acceptable, things that are unacceptable. But also as civil servants, as civil society. Maulape police station, Nizamina is the little girl to come and report my case. Feel for me, hear me.
Yes, don't be ridiculous.
Yes, that's why we're saying bring back these VEP centers, Kuma police stations. Even take social workers and put them there. If the police are not, if the police are hard, gay, put a social worker there. But make a police station a safe haven. Even a man who goes there to go and report, Guti, we get those cases, my woman beats me up, and Magafika police station, so we need to understand, Guti, we are not living in the bold and the beautiful, we're not living in America. Where we are today, in South Africa, it's all hands on deck. I mean, in Dabayama script writers, I was requesting Besisa Community Safety today, but they're going to bring about Best Buy and so on. Need to know, for us as well as the media, we need to take responsibility. The things that we script.
Yes.
Do not script like you are writing for people. When generations had Mam Lambo on, You then had men, epara, with snakes, saying, Batali 20 rand, and then you'll see Mamlamba will give you whatever. Right now, on some other show on Mzansi Magic, there's the selling of body parts. So we need to take responsibility for the things that we show, the things that we are putting out there for people to watch. That's why someone will see you because they actually believe that that's who you are. Yeah. That's what you do in life. So let's not do it from a vacuum. Let's understand where we are as a society and cater to that.
Minister, well, I mean, she's posing a challenge to us as the media as well. I guess we either underrate our influence or our role.
I agree fully with Andile. Our media is not articulating positive stories. Yeah. They don't contribute to educating and they know that our kids watch these things.
Now you're sounding like Saudi now.
No, I'm not sounding like Saudi. But the key issue is that it's true. When I go home now, anything you show between now and 9 o'clock, my children will be there, my grandkids will be there watching.
Yes.
So the key is about what do we want to use our social and our media for? Do we want it to articulate negative stories or we want positive stories because they add value in the moral of our society? Because that's what we need to look at. I mean, I'm told, I have never watched it, maybe because I don't have enough time to watch certain things. On ETV, they say on Friday, after 10, things which are shown there. And our kids, because on Friday, they don't go to school. You tend to allow them. Until you hear what goes on, you don't see these kids, they're in the lounge watching TV and terrible things. So as parents, we must take responsibility. But we think the media people also, and the writers, as Andile says, must also play a role in helping society to be educated in a better way, including the issue of socialization. At what point are we going to have dramas which project the importance of equality between boys and girls?
They say they are not interested. But let's talk about the march. Give us details there.
Okay, so we converge UJ Soweto campus, 10 o'clock on Friday morning. And we walk.
That's Vista for...
Yes, Vista for all Yes, and then we meet there. We want to actually start walking from 11 o'clock. Okay. And then we walk to Regina Mundi and Masifika Lapo. Then we have a program so the walk we're thinking will take about an hour, hour and a half. And then the program in there, because we've also got, disabled persons. We've also got older persons coming. We've got the LGBT community. So we don't actually want to make this a lengthy thing. So at the Regina Mundi, that's also going to be an hour and a half to 2 hours of speeches, and then we're done.
Okay. What you're saying? What time are we convening?
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock.
Yes. So Friday, the 26th of May. This coming Friday. And let's, ask people to wear black because we're in mourning. Okay. So we can't act like things are okay.
Okay. Well, we've got on our screens the where is it? The hotline, the anti-abuse hotline, 0800 428 428. That's the gender-based violence hotline, 0800 428 428. Now, I want to close on a different note. You see, today we've got Andy. So she's got this trademark sign-off. I normally say, I'm hot. So I want her to do the Kumbule Kaya one with a salute for us, and that camera will be out. On which camera are you? You'll be on 2.
On 2. All right.
Yeah.
So is that it now? Sesiqedile. Ayike bakhaya siyabonga kakhulu ukuthi nisibukele. Sicela nibe khona kwi-match yethu this Friday 26th of May, UJ campus Soweto, siya eRegina Mundi. From the Minister Shabangu, myself, sengithatha over ishow kaMpho nilale kahle. That's good.